Hello, Rakesh. Hello, Gabriella. It's really nice meeting you today. And I'm hosting Rakesh and Gabriella, and we are going to talk about relationships in Indian families, about India, about Hungary. So many interesting topics. And first of all, I would like to ask you to introduce yourself, like where are you from, what do you do, so that our listeners know you a little bit better. Let's start with Lady Gabriella. Your turn.
Sure. Thank you, Laura. So my name is Gabriella and I am from Hungary. I am Hungarian and I just finished my studies. So now I am a certified psychologist and together we are trying to help other intercultural couples to understand their relationship or their difficulties better. And in our everyday life, we like meditation and breathing techniques. We also teach them together. So I am also a meditation and breath teacher in the Art of Living organization. And yeah, I think basically that's all about me in short.
Yeah, that's really great. Yes, what you are doing. I think you should tell us more about it, because I know a lot of people are struggling in intercultural relation and they cannot find the balance, like how to handle like culture differences. So maybe you can tell us more about that, how you are handling yours, for example. And what about you, Rakesh? Can you please introduce yourself a little bit?
Yes. So I am basically from India and I came here around 5.5 years ago. I am an Ayurveda doctor. So Ayurveda, for those who don't know it, it is a Indian traditional medicine. The way we have Chinese traditional medicine, we have in India also. So it sees everything from a holistic perspective, yeah, including our personality and everything. So I have been practicing Ayurveda since more than 12 years now, and I myself am practicing meditation since 2004, and I'm teaching it since 2010. So that's how we have similar interests, and then it helps a lot to uh, be together and be in harmony in the intercultural relationship. But we will talk about it later also.
Yes, of course. I think I have to learn from you how to meditate. Yeah, I think sometimes I really need it, but I never did it before. But to be able to control yourself, to calm down, I think it's very important in our stressful life, especially. And first question I would like to ask you, I think the most popular one, and you will probably ask this question many times: how did you guys meet each other? You are from India, you are from Hungary. So how did it happen? Could you please share your beautiful love story? I would say I will let you tell us more about it, but it's indeed very beautiful.
Yes, so actually we met like five years ago when Rakesh came to Hungary, and he has been here for 1 year at that time, and then he just came to my hometown, and he was giving a public talk about Ayurveda, and I just happened to be there, and finally it happened that the hall was full of people. So when I arrived, I was with my mom, and when we arrived, the hall was full. So there was no space for us even to sit down. And it happened that Rakesh and his translator, they gave us their seats so that we could sit down and listen to the talk. And then we were just sitting like 1 meter away from them, and then we were very close, and I just remember that I saw Rakesh and I felt that, oh my God, I have never met such a person, because I felt that his whole personality and the way he was speaking and the way he was behaving and his whole like presence, it was so special for me that I immediately felt that, oh, something is happening in my heart. So that's where we
First sight, yes.
yes yes, and later when we talked about it, then it turned out that it was the same for Rakesh as well. So it was not just from my side. side, it was really love at first sight from both the sides.
Yeah, because when I saw her sitting in front of me, and then I felt some kind of connection that I know her, or I would like to know her more, or even I would like to spend my life with her. So that was the feeling that I got. But I was not sure. Like, okay, she's not Indian, and I don't want to go into final decisions yet. But that was the feeling. So we can say that it was love at first sight.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I just imagine this in pictures, like, like in a Bollywood movie, the girl entered the hall and then the guy saw her and, oh, wow, she is my future wife for sure. That's an amazing story. But Gabriella, I would like to ask you, were you really interested in Indian culture before you met each other? And did you ever think that you would be married to someone from a totally different culture, or it all just happened all of a sudden?
Yeah, actually, before meeting Rakesh, I was not very much familiar with the Indian culture. I didn't know much about it. I just knew that, okay, like meditation and yoga, they all come from the beautiful India, but I didn't have much knowledge about it. Some things maybe I have heard about it, but not so much. Actually, I was very much fond of France. I have been to France many times, and even for one summer in my high school years, I spent in France. So I was in love with France, and I was open actually to have a French husband.
Oh.
But then it didn't happen. I didn't meet anybody whom I felt I would marry, even though I spent some time in France. But somewhere I had this feeling that, okay, maybe I will have someone from abroad, and maybe my husband is going to be a foreigner. Because even in Hungary, I didn't feel much connected to the boys whom I met, or there was no such connection which I felt at the first time when I met Rakesh. So I didn't know much about India, but I was open to marry someone from another country.
Yes, I can understand you really well, because I always felt the same, yes. But okay, my case was different. I was in love with India, so it was like really a very long love story, yes, with this country. But for you, it's like you were in love with France, but you met someone from India. These two cultures are totally different. I would say there is nothing in common. So after that, how you can say, yeah, that I don't believe in destiny? I think it's obvious that it was a destiny which brought you together. And which qualities of your husband impressed you the most when you met him? What did you like the most about him?
Well, I just I like what not. There are many things which I like, but I think what really struck me and what was really special for me is his calmness, his state of being, that serenity, and also his knowledge, his deep knowledge about life and health and Ayurveda. But mostly it's really this presence that he has, which is very calm and serene and like so peaceful. That was actually what really touched me deep.
Yeah, that's very important, I think, yes, to have a calm and peaceful husband, especially if you are yourself like very emotional person. It's very good. And what about you, Rakesh? Did you ever think that your wife would be from a totally different culture, or it's again happened just a spark? Yeah, you saw Gabriella and you realized, yes, she's the one.
Yeah, so when I was in India, first of all, I didn't have any plan to travel abroad, so I didn't even have my passport. So only when I got to know that I have an opportunity to get a job in Europe, that is when I applied for the passport. So I had no idea to go abroad. I didn't even have any wish to marry to any foreigner girl. I wanted to marry an Indian wife and then have children, and then all these kind of things, wanting to preserve my own culture. But then I was open also at the same time. It's not that I was very strict, but I was open. But my idea was to have some Indian wife. But when I came here and then I saw that, okay, everybody, I would like to say some interesting story that when I came here for the first time and I started walking on the street, and what I realized, what everybody is white around me. There are so many white people, but then I realized that, okay, I am in a country where there are white people here. So then one of my friends, in colleague, she told me that, you are ready to get married, and then most probably your parents are also looking for a girl for you. Maybe we will look a Hungarian girl for you, and then you can get married and stay here. Otherwise, many Ayurveda doctors who come here, they get married in India and they go back to India. So they said that we don't want you to go back, so we will find a Hungarian girl for you. And then I was thinking that Hungarian girl, okay, maybe I will like someone, but will that girl like me? Because I don't know, I felt that I'm not worthy enough or handsome enough. So it was completely out of question for me. But when I met Gabriella, then it was something different. I felt that I know her from before. So
Yes.
it was, yeah, like
Yes.
that.
Yeah. So you were going to marry someone from your own culture, but you found your love in Hungary. Yes, that's really amazing story. And may I ask, why did you choose Hungary as a country where you are going to work? And why? Because it's not a very popular destination for Indians, I would say. I don't think there are so many Indians living there. Maybe I'm wrong. You can correct me. But why Hungary?
Yeah, so it was not decided by me because I work with the Art of Living organization, and through them, they wanted me to go abroad and spread Ayurveda. So first they said I will go to Oman.
Oh,
Later they said I will go to France, but that also didn't happen. And finally, in Hungary, they wanted a Ayurveda doctor, so that's why I came here. But it was not my choice.
yes, yes. I heard about this organization. I think they're everywhere in every country. Like I think in Netherlands as well. Yes, actually not so far from my home, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
Yes. So I would like to ask you another question. Okay, first I will ask Gabriella, what was the reaction of your family when you told them that you are in love with someone not from France, like but from a totally different culture? How did they react? And after how long time did you actually tell them? How long did you know each other before you really finalized that you want to get married?
Yeah, so I think like when I met Rakesh for the first time, my mom was with me, and I think she was also impressed by him, that the way he is and everything. But then he was just a doctor, and we were just the clients, so there was nothing much that we talked at that time. But then later on, then I participated in this meditation and breath workshop. Then I moved to Budapest, and then I could go and spend more time and meet also. But it was really just like a friendly conversations, very limited time, and just saying hi and how are you and this kind of thing. And it was only, I think, after 1 year that we knew each other, that we started getting closer, and then we were kind of feeling that okay, there is something more as well, and we were starting to become more open about it to each other. But only like after many months after we felt that okay, there is something more, is when we told our families about it. And I remember that I told my family, my parents, and they were very much surprised, and they were also a bit shocked, especially my father. He was a bit shocked because they don't really know many foreign people, and especially India is so far away. They don't know much about it. There is not much information that we have about India, so it was very unusual and unexpected for them that oh, okay, our daughter, like our little daughter, is now thinking about a partner, and then maybe even more. So it was kind of a surprise for them. And in the first few weeks, it was really a bit shocking and unexpected for them.
So it took you some time to convince them, okay, that nothing, there is, everything is fine. Yeah, India is also the same country like all other countries. Yeah, and I will not go there. Yeah, I think the most the parents, they always worry that, okay, if my daughter have to go to live somewhere very far
Yes.
away, and India is always portrayed, I don't know why, as a very poor country, and then okay, my daughter might live in some slum, and, and I don't know why people, they don't show good things about India. Mainly it's always negative things, and of course being a parent, it's a very worrying thing. It's a totally different culture, I can understand. And what about your parents, Rakesh? Because being in India, Indian, so you know that a lot of parents, they are kind of also worried about the same thing. Okay, she's a foreigner. How she will adjust to our culture? How we will communicate with her? Because we don't know English. So all these questions always come to their mind. So how was their reaction?
Yeah, so yeah, since the beginning, it was like, you know, the Indian culture, like whenever you talk to a girl, somehow you're planning that you want to get married to her.
Yes.
So I was thinking in that, on that lines, that okay, if I want to get close to her or go beyond just normal friendship, then I should also think about marriage. So from my side, it was very clear. And around the same time, when she told her parents, I also told my parents. They were a bit surprised, but they didn't resist, because they said that, see, at the end of the day, you are going to spend your life with her. So if you are happy with her, that's good for us, or that is enough for us. Of course, they didn't ask about anything, not about religion or likes, dislikes, anything. They said that, okay, if you have liked her, that means there is something good in her. So they were completely okay with it. But of course, when it comes to thinking about our marriage later on, then they had some misconceptions which come because of the movies. So because in the Western movies, what they show is that girls or women, they drink alcohol, they get drunk, and they get divorced very
Yes.
easily and quickly, and then they don't
The
respect
main
their
worry of
husbands.
Indian parents, yeah, she will divorce our son and take kids away, and that's it.
Yes, exactly. So something similar was also there, but then when I cleared all those doubts, then they were more secure about it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it
So
was
probably
nice.
your family is also more progressive, because you know there are some
Yes.
parents who will just say no, and they don't even want to hear anything. Okay, just only Indian girl, not foreigner at all. We don't want them to listen to you. Yeah, this is actually very wise that you, for your family, your happiness was on the first place. Yeah, and I think it should be like that. Yes, and it doesn't matter who is your partner, if your son or if your daughter choose someone. Yeah, that means it is serious and you are happy with this person. And where did you get married? Did you have a big fat Indian wedding, like with 1,000 guests, like it happened in India, or it was like a small ceremony? How did it happen?
So I will tell about the Hungarian wedding. It happened in last year in August. So next month we will have 1 year anniversary. So it was very nice. Like we had not many people, because at that time it was still, COVID was still there a little bit. So we didn't want to have bigger gathering. And usually Hungarian weddings are with meat and alcohol and things like that. But we, both of us, we don't eat meat, we don't drink alcohol. So we said that, okay, our wedding is going to be like that. So it was a bit challenging for us, but in the end, um, everybody was supportive, especially her parents were very much supportive, that, okay, if you don't want to have it, it's perfectly fine. But some of the guests, they were surprised that, okay, how can there be a wedding without meat and without stuffed cabbage and without alcohol? But in the end, everybody enjoyed it. And would you like to say about Indian wedding?
Yeah, and also a little bit about the Hungarian wedding. Then after it happened, and even during the ceremony and the party and everything, everyone was saying that wow, it was such a like a fairy tale, and it was so beautiful, and we enjoyed ourselves so much, and there was something so special about the wedding. Even though there was no alcohol, everyone was having so much fun. The energy was so high. We were dancing and laughing and enjoying. So something was really special, and people could feel that there is a different way of celebration, and what we believe in and what the way we are living our life. It was visible in that whole situation. So people really enjoyed it, and they were really supportive that
So they
that it
are
can
wise
happen.
that it's possible to have fun without alcohol. Like many people,
Yes.
yeah. What type of
Yes.
marriage it is? If you can drink, if you can do like eat, I don't know, meat is of course it's very important part of, let's say, not only Hungarian culture but most of Western cultures. And I think it's not really necessary to have meat at your wedding to be happy. So and you prove that. And what about your Indian one? So you also had a ceremony in India.
Yes, we also got married in India. Actually, since the beginning, that was our plan, that we are going to have a Hungarian wedding and we are going to have an Indian wedding as well. So in India, we got married this year in February or January, actually. January end, yes. And there also our Indian family joined, and also my Hungarian part of my closest family also came from Hungary. So it was a really beautiful thing that our parents and our family actually met for the first time. And our wedding was like in during the or according to the Vedic tradition. So we had all the fire ceremony, and we took the 7 vows, and we did all these rituals which are very ancient and coming from the ancient scriptures and ancient habits of India. So it was really so deep and so beautiful, and like really magical. And it happened in the Art of Living Center in Bangalore. So that was also something really special because it was my first time there, and also my family's first time, and our parents were meeting for the first time. So it was really a memorable experience.
Yes, it was probably very exciting. And I would like to ask you, how was your impression about India? It was your first time in this country. Probably you didn't know so much about India before. So, like, if you go back in time, like, what did you really feel when you first time arrived to this country, stepped out on Indian ground? Yeah, what did you really like it, or you were maybe shocked, impressed, or just mixture of feelings?
Yeah, so actually we went to India together last year for the first time. So that was my first time, and now this wedding time was my second time. But even the first time I went with a very open mind and with a very open heart, that I was very curious how India is in reality, and based on my own experience and impressions, and not just what I heard about it. So when I arrived, then I was like looking at the palm trees, and oh my god, so many people, so many cars, and so much of noise. So it was really an impactful experience. Like there was so much noise and people and everything. Compared to Hungary, it's really crowded, and there are many people and full of life, and there is always something happening. So yeah, I actually really liked it, and it was really a nice experience for me. Of course, I noticed many differences as well, like the way people they connect with each other is different, the way they show their love is different. Maybe they are not so expressive about their love. For example, here you can see people kissing on the street or hugging each other. It's very open and visible that they show their affection. there it's more hidden. The way they show their love is in different things, rather in actions, not in words. So yeah, I noticed all these things, and I was interested to get to know more how they live. And of course, I liked the way they dress and those beautiful dresses they wear, the colorful look that you can look around and see colors everywhere. I very much liked it.
Yes, that's what you miss here indeed. Colorful
Yeah.
clothes, yeah, because everyone just wear black, gray, yeah, and you can't get this cheerful
Yes.
feel. And what do you
Yes.
like the most about India? Like, if you just would think about it, like good points. Let's start with positive. I always prefer to talk about positive first and then about negative points.
Yeah. So since we came together with Rakesh, I very much liked the food. He was teaching me so many recipes and so many new types of ways how we can prepare vegetables and the different Indian style cooking methods. So I am very much fond of Indian food. And even if it is hot, I like it. Sometimes I cannot eat that much hot food and spicy food, but then we make it in a milder version. And also Rakesh's family pays attention that when I am there, then they make sure that it is not super
Yes.
spicy, so that I can also eat it. So definitely food I very much like. And actually what I also like is this deep sense of gratitude and spirituality that Indian people they have. It's not just like related to religion, but the way they live their life, the way they have this faith and belief in some higher things, like bigger things than what we can see with our eyes. I really like that, and all the ceremonies that they do, they all have a deep meaning behind it, and that is something which is really wonderful and which I really much like.
Yes. And about negative points, was there something what you didn't like or couldn't understand or accept?
Well,
In
as I said, I sorry.
Indian traffic, yes. It's new
Traffic.
for me. About
Yes.
when I arrived to India, I am really scared to cross the road here without my husband. And okay, now we can go. Let's run.
Yeah. As I said, I went with a very open heart and open mind, and Rakesh has been preparing me for the visit and also how it is going to be like, and the way we respect elders and all those things. I can very easily adapt to these things, so I have no problem doing certain things which we don't do here, because I feel that if I want to show my respect, and in India it is in a certain way, then I have no problem to show my respect in that way, or show my love in the way they understand, or in the way it is possible for them to accept. And of course in Hungary, then I also have grandparents and old people around me, and then I know that I can show my love and respect to them in a different way. So of course, these differences sometimes they are very different, but I am happy and open to adapt, or to learn about it, and also to do certain things. Of course, there is a lot of people around and families also around all the time. So maybe something which in the India visit I might be missing is a little bit of privacy, or a little bit of time for myself, or to say something to Rakesh in private. Maybe that is something which I would like to have more.
Yeah.
But again, it's just different ways of living, and I am open to try the new things.
I think all the girls are noticing that there's not enough privacy. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Something what everyone is really missing, like especially if you are living together, like in a big family. Yes, of course, you don't have enough privacy, and you have to adjust yourself to be able to live happily. And here in the West, we are not used to it. Like we are more independent. We just use like when we get married, we live separately from our families, and it's kind of normal. But in India, okay, it depends again on the family, but it's still a very common thing that it's a very big family living in the same house. That's why, yes, you need some understanding, yeah, to be able to adjust. And what about you, Rakesh? I would like to ask you, how do you feel yourself in Hungary? Because it's again, you came from India and it's a totally different culture. I have never been to Hungary, but I would imagine that it's very similar to other European countries. So how do you feel yourself? What are the main pros and cons? You can just tell us about this country. What do you like the most? And is there something what you don't like at all?
Yeah, so first thing is that what I like is that people, they respect the rules. Like if it is a red lamp, then you don't cross, or when it is green light, then you cross on the zebra crossing. But in India, it is not the same. You can cross anywhere, and people, they don't really respect the lamps. So that is something which I really liked here. And discipline in the sense that when you're getting in a tram or in a bus, then you're waiting in a queue, and you're not jumping all of you together in the door, how they do it in
Now
India.
pushing each other,
Exactly.
yeah, who will come first.
So they give respect, or there are queues. They don't mind standing in a queue. Maybe they are not happy, but they still respect it. So
Yes.
that is what I like very much about Hungary. And then, of course, the food and people. I was, yeah, when I came here, I was not missing India, because people here, they are so much caring and loving. They don't let you feel lonely. At the same time, they give you your privacy. So that's something I appreciated really here. That even though they were in the center or walking around me, but still they didn't bother me. In India, it's like, okay, you can just go and knock on the door, and then you're there. Hi, hello, how are you? I would like to talk to you or something. I just came to have a cup of tea with you. But here they call you and ask that, can I come at this time, or are you free at this time? So that is something which I really appreciate about Hungary, or in Europe in general also.
But what about like curiosity? I don't know how it is in Hungary again. So, like probably you noticed, Gabriel, when you went to India, everyone was looking at you, and you got a lot of attention. What about you, Rakesh? Is it the same in Hungary, or people just simply just live their life and they don't really care how you look, how you dress? Because like in India, of course, you would be noticed if you are a foreigner. Everyone will look at you.
And that is one more thing I appreciated about Hungary, that people, they mind their own business, and they just look at you. Maybe if you're wearing different clothes, then they just look at you, and that's it. In India, they will look at you from top to bottom till you cross that. So this is a bit annoying uh, thing in India, but then we are used to it, that we have been living there, like me. But here, people, they mind their own business, and that is something which is very good for me. I like it. So
No, that's
it
nice.
was
You don't face any, let's say, like negative feelings or maybe even type of racism, because in some countries I heard that people really feel it like they just like get some comments back or something like not really nice. Is it you never faced anything like that in Hungary?
no, in Hungary, never. I would like to share one experience from Bosnia. The people in Bosnia, they are very sweet. I was traveling there also for work purpose sometimes, and there was a time when there were, there were no refugees. So when the war started in the Middle East, that's when the refugees started coming in. So before that, everybody would look at me, but with an appreciation that, okay, some Indian person. And later on, when the refugees, they started coming in, now because they didn't have any place to stay, they would stay in a common place, like near the bus stations or train stations, or they would walk on the streets. And because they didn't have job, then the crime rate also was higher. And then after that, when I visited Bosnia again, then people's way of looking at me was a bit different, and I could feel it. That maybe they think that I belong to the same category. So it was a bit interesting, but because I was with my other friends or hosts who were hosting me there, it was not a big problem. But there I could experience a little bit. But here, never, never. So people, they respect you, who irrespective of who you are and how you look and how you clothe.
No, that's really great to hear, because I just heard different experience in different countries. I also heard that Bosnia is a very nice place, very nice, warm people. I talked to a few Bosnians. I think I had one interview with a Bosnian girl, and she told me that it's really amazing and beautiful country, and no one really know about it so much. And I started searching for the pictures, and I was impressed myself how beautiful it is. There are a lot of things to see, and I wish it would be more popular among tourists as well. So
Yes.
Hungary, of course, it's very popular place, especially Budapest. I think everyone loves this city. I heard from my friends it's even more beautiful than Prague. for many people, it's more beautiful. I don't want to say anything about Prague or Budapest because I have never been to any of the cities, unfortunately. They are very popular among Russians, but I still have to discover both of them. But I would love to see it, yeah, because what I see on the pictures, it's very impressive. Yeah, and it's nice to know that people are also different, because you say that they don't really interfere, they mind their business. Here it's not the same. It's totally different. And of course in Russia it's also okay, it's still not the same level. Yeah, there can be some unfriendly people who can stare at you or pass some comments. I think maybe it's everywhere. Probably it's possible, it depends. And is there something what maybe cause some negativity, what you don't like so much, or you just adjust in this country perfectly? It's also possible. Sometimes I ask, okay, what if there is something you don't like about this country? No, I like everything is fine.
What comes to my mind is one thing, that people in Hungary, when they are traveling with public transport, especially bus or tram, they prefer sitting alone. So if it is a place for two people, they sit in such a way that other one is free. Like if you have to go and sit there, then you have to ask them that can you move a little bit, or can I go and sit there? Or they prefer standing rather than sitting.
Okay.
So now what happens, there are some seats which are free and they could be occupied, but they still prefer standing, and then it causes difficulty for people to walk there. So it's a bit surprising, and sometimes it is annoying also for me. On the contrary, it is exactly opposite in India. Whenever they see a place to sit, they immediately grab it. Yes.
They rush. Yes. Who is first?
So then I just feel that, okay, why don't you sit there? It's a free place, and then it's not even reserved for any special people. But yeah, that's sometimes a bit annoying for me.
Yeah, Gabriella, is there any explanation why people like to stand or sit alone?
I also don't have much idea about it. Even when Rakesh told me, I was noticing it more and more that, okay, it's really true. But for me also, I was like, my reason for not sitting on a bus or on a tram or public transport is that I want to leave the space for older people to have an opportunity to sit down. But of course, sometimes there are not so many of them, so we could easily sit down. But really, like, it's like we just prefer standing, I guess, because then you don't need to worry about getting down and then standing up and asking the other person that please stand up, I want to get down. Maybe it's about that. But my reason, if I don't sit down, is to leave the space for older people to sit. But yeah, then when older people come, then many times then people, they offer their seat, and even if they are sitting, they offer it to the older people to sit. So maybe that is one reason, but I don't know really if that it is a public phenomena and it's really happening, but I have no idea why people, they don't sit. Maybe they don't like to be so much close to someone else, like sitting next to the other person. I don't know.
No, but it's something really new. I never heard about it. And here, what I don't like here, that people don't really give place to older people. For example, some older woman enter the bus, it's most probably that she will stand all the journey and no one even there to give the place. Yeah, and sometimes I just like surprised. I stand and I give the place and they're shocked, like, oh, and they start thanking me so much, like, thank you. Thank you. It's so nice of you. Yeah. So for me, it was a shocking thing because I'm not used to it. That if I'm young, of course, I will give a place out of respect, and it's an older person. But in Hungary, people are different. Yeah, I think so. It's they still maybe respect people, older people more than like in other countries. And one question I would like to ask both of you, because you are from different backgrounds, culture, religions, and is there something what was difficult to accept for you or to understand where you just started your relationship, or how like I would like to ask what are the main challenges do you face in your daily life, let's say, or is there any challenges actually? I'm sure there are, especially in the beginning when you just get to know each other and you discover different cultures. So how do you deal with them, if there are any?
Yeah, so there were challenges in the beginning. Not they were not very obvious, but then very subtle level they were challenges. For example, when we were deciding to get serious about our relationship, think about marriage and everything, Gabriella asked me that, are we together? And then I'm like, okay, we are together here right now. And what do you mean by being together? So she wanted to know that, okay, are we together like in a relationship or like a couple? And for me, it was still a bit unsure thing because in India, it's like once you decide that you want to be together, you immediately get engaged and then you think about marriage and things like that. But having a boyfriend or girlfriend in India is still not considered a very good thing. So you immediately want to convert it into a relationship, because then if there is no relationship, then there is something fishy going on there. So I was a bit shocked and I didn't know what to answer at that time. But later on, when I understood, I answered it. Other thing was uh, yeah, about our understanding and communication. For example, I come from a culture where we don't speak things clearly and we want the other person to understand us. But and maybe you have also experienced it. Like, suppose if I'm doing something and then I see that Gabriella is around me and I need help, and then I maybe don't ask her that, can you help me? And then later on, I feel bad that, okay, she saw that I needed help, but she didn't even help me. And then I asked her, like, why didn't you help me? And she said, you didn't ask for it. So something like this, it comes up from time to time, but we have really managed to overcome this challenge by sitting and then discussing that, yes, there are these things coming up again and again, and we need to work on it. So that is one thing, that talking about things, it helps us, but sometimes just talking can create turbulence. So what helps us is meditation and breathing techniques, because that helps us to calm down our vibrations. So when we talk to each other, we don't talk with that anger and frustration, because when we are angry, we say certain things which hurt other person so much that the scars can stay for lifetime. So we somehow manage to not speak such harsh words at all. So that is one thing which helps us, but challenges are definitely there.
Yeah, and I would also add that sometimes it's like a subtle, unsaid expectations that we have from each other. For example, coming from a European culture, then I feel that, okay, like in gender roles, then it's like more flexible what the man does, what the woman does. Women can also work, or women can also work, men can also work, and then they will manage the home together in a flexible way. But sometimes then Rakesh, maybe coming from India, he has a different idea. Of course, he is very flexible and he doesn't say that, okay, the woman should do the home stuff only and he will work. He's very open to be flexible and decide together. But I think sometimes it comes up like subtle expectations that, okay, you would do this at home, or I expect him that he would do something, he would do the washing, or and he is expecting that I would do it, and then none of us does it, and then it stays there. And then we feel that, okay, then maybe we should fix that. Today I do this or that, but sometimes we don't manage to do it like that. So sometimes these subtle expectations, when we don't say them, they create some confusion or some discomfort in both of us. But then we make it more open, and then somehow we start talking about it, that okay, like this is what I felt, this is what I expected, and then sorry or something like that. We also don't hesitate to say sorry to each other if we feel that we have made a mistake or we have hurt the other person. So some things like this, like some expectations, some communication differences, they do come up, and then we work on them.
Yeah, I
And
think
more challenges,
talk. Yes.
we experience some more challenges when we are in India, because here the culture is open. We are not so much with the family, but in India we are with the family, and not just family, but our neighbors also. So it's like here there are only few eyes which are looking at you, but in India every eye is looking at
Yes,
you,
that's
because they are
true.
ready to comment. Yes, they are ready to comment. They are ready to say things, and they are ready to give you advice openly.
Yeah.
So there again, the challenges were like being ourselves. Sometimes here now I have lived so much in the freedom that I feel like, okay, I should get freedom there also. Like walking, holding the hands together on the street is sometimes, because I live in a not very much advanced city. It is kind of town. So people, they still have some orthodox ideas that, okay, um, boy and girl, even though husband wife, they should walk close to each other, but not hold the hand in the public. So then I miss that kind of things there. And yeah, like food timings. Sometimes in India they eat late, and we like to eat early. So matching the timings can also be a bit challenging thing.
Yes, I can
But
imagine. Somehow, I'm surprised to hear it. I heard from many people that okay, they eat very late, but I noticed it's actually opposite. When I go to India, they eat so early, so like 7 o'clock you have your dinner and that's all, and then you go to sleep by 9 or something like that. Maybe it depends on the family, but I heard from many people that they're actually shocked that they eat at 11 o'clock in the night and something it's not healthy at all. So for me,
yes,
it's kind of yeah, and I think maybe you're talking if you think about big cities, big Indian cities. It's I would say that you can see everything there. You can see girls and boys hugging, kissing, holding their hands.
yes,
I saw it myself, and they dress very openly, like even girls can just wear short skirts or shorts, and then sometimes I'm shocked how they can dress like that. It's India, but nowadays you can see everything because India also changed a lot. I think you would agree with me that it's not the same how it used to be. I mean, like let's say 10 years ago.
right, right.
Yes, and so now if you want to ask for help, you ask directly, okay? I need help with that there is no more misunderstanding. Yes. No, I know it can be very challenging. Yeah, many people just think that it's so easy, yeah, to be in intercultural relations, but yes, especially if you are from different cultures, you have to learn, you have to talk, and I think it's very important to talk because otherwise you will just keep it inside and just burn and get angry, and then okay, she didn't understand what I wanted, or
Yeah.
my husband didn't really did what and I didn't ask him. So I think yes, that's the right approach. And I would like to ask you, you probably speak mainly in English, yes, at home, but are you learning
Yes.
each other's languages? So Gabriella, do you understand at least a little bit of Marathi or Hindi?
Yeah, when we go to India, then especially when I am surrounded only with the Marathi language, then I observe that okay, I can understand many things when they are speaking. I can understand the context and the main thing that they are talking about. Sometimes they use some English words here and there, also when people speak Hindi, sometimes they add some English words in that. So somehow I understand what the discussion is all about, and then I can, like, because I am a psychologist, then I can get
Yeah, yeah.
the understanding even the way people they act, or their nonverbal communication also helps a lot. So yeah, when I am there, I feel that it's very easy to understand and to get the whole main idea about what they are talking. When I am here in Hungary, then it's much more difficult to remember some words or some sentences. But I am trying also with Rakesh. Sometimes we are trying that. Okay, I will say something in Marathi. He will answer in Marathi or something like that. For him, it's a bit easier, I guess, because we are surrounded with Hungarian language. But mainly between two of us, we speak English mostly. But yeah, maybe you can share your Hungarian
Yes,
part.
Yeah, for me
I
also.
really I would like to know your experience, because what I heard that Hungarian language is one of the most difficult languages. Like, I would say Finnish and Hungarian, that's what I heard. For me, I think I would be never able to learn it. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's a very difficult language. So how is your experience with it? Can you understand, speak Hungarian?
Yes, I am pretty good at picking up the languages, so I never put an extra effort to learn the language. What helps me is being surrounded by people, because when I see them talking in certain situation, then I know, okay, if this is the situation, this is what we should say. So that is how I pick up the language. And in early days when I was here, I was traveling a lot all over the Europe, so I didn't make get much chance to spend here in Hungary. So I was not exposed to the language much. But now, because Gavriela's parents, grandparents, they speak only Hungarian, I get to hear a lot of Hungarian whenever I'm at home, and then it helps me to pick up the language. But yes, I can understand much of it, and I can speak a little bit now. So I'm happy with that progress.
So you're not really learning it at some course or somewhere. Is it
No,
possible actually for a foreigner to attend some courses in Hungary?
it is, yeah, it is possible. But yeah, I was like, okay, I don't want to learn the official way. I would like to learn it from people, really.
Yeah, that's how many people actually learn languages. They don't really attend any courses or something, just by communication with people. Yeah, they simply learn. But for you, Gabriel, it's more difficult, more challenging, because you are not living in India, so you don't hear Marathi so much. It's only possible to practice with your husband, or maybe if you have Indian friends, for example, then it's also possible. So are you planning to improve your Marathi, or maybe to attend some course, or maybe, because I would, based on my experience, I think husbands are not the best teachers. I'm sorry to say that, but they prefer not to teach, or okay, I'm so busy, I don't have time for that. Yeah, so it's easier to learn it by yourself, or just find a teacher or someone like who can help you.
Yeah, I am definitely planning to improve in my Marathi, because if when we have kids, for example, then we are planning to teach them both the languages. So it would be good if we can already understand each other's languages at that time. So I am definitely planning to improve my Marathi. Actually, that happens. That okay, we plan that. Okay, we will sit and then learn something, or on that day we only speak Hungarian, or on the other day we only speak Marathi, and then as much as we can. But then somehow it doesn't happen, because saying it in English is much easier and faster than thinking that, okay, what should I say? So yes, somehow I need to figure out some new ways to improve my Marathi, maybe searching for some videos or teacher who can help me in that, but I definitely want to learn
So
more.
there are very good online schools. Like I'm also started, let's say, improving my Punjabi, because I can understand 90%, but I mix it with Hindi. So it's like, and I'm not happy with that. I just want to be able to speak properly, because these two languages are very similar. I think Marathi and Hindi also There are a
Mhm.
lot of
Yeah.
similarity and a lot of similar words, maybe even the same words. So that's why it's like if you already know one language, it's I think more difficult to start speaking a very similar one. Yeah, maybe if I would learn Tamil, yeah, it's totally different. Of course, you would not mix it, but if it's like that, yeah. And I think nowadays people are lucky. There are so many possibilities to learn languages. When I was learning Hindi, it was I couldn't even find a good dictionary, nothing at all. Now you can just join online school and learn it. So I'm sure, and your kids will probably speak three languages: English, Hungarian, Marathi, maybe
Yes.
something else. Yes, that's great. And Gabriella, I would like to ask you, what like do you think about Indians? What make them really different than others? If you compare Hungarian person, like Hungarian man, with Indian man, what are the main differences according to you? Of course, you
Well,
cannot talk about all Hungarians and all Indians, but I really want to start actually writing some posts about Indian, like let's say Indian men or different nationalities, like men of different nationalities, and see, compare what, because you know, there are still some points which are common, let's say, only in Indian men or only in Hungarian or only in Russian men. So, what do you think are the most common points?
yeah, I think it's a bit difficult for me because the Indian man whom I know the most is Rakesh, and then he is also a bit different than usual Indian men. So it's a bit difficult to say, but I think a big difference is what we already mentioned a little bit is that Indian men, when they think about relationship, it's like it's about marriage immediately or mostly. That is what we can say. But in Hungary, they are open for having many relationships or being in relationship with many different partners. And actually, that is something which I don't really like. So I also am of the opinion that if you want to be serious about a relationship, then you be serious and then you commit to that person. So that is something which I like about Indian culture and Indian man or Indian mentality, that you think in a more mature way or in a more committed way, that okay, I will commit to this person, and then I decide that if I want to be with this person, then only I will start a relationship with that person. So that is something which is different and which I like more about the Indian thinking.
Yeah, it's I think it's more common, let's say, about all Eastern men. They're like different, they're more family orientated, but again, it depends. I'm sure you can find
Yes.
very family orientated people among all nationalities, but if we just talk about main points, yes. And something else you would like to add, something like what really makes Indian like special or very different?
I think also there is a deep sense of like caring and for the family and for the parents, for the family members. Like you don't just go and leave them behind, but you do think about them, that what they are going to do, how you can support them. So that is something which is really nice. I think this deep sense of belongingness and connectivity to your family, and not just to your close family. I think in Europe we think more just of the close family. In India, you think more about people around you also, and bigger family as well. So that is something really nice, which I find really nice, and which I very much like is also that in Hindu culture or in Vedic tradition, then you have all these like deeper things in life. Like you don't just think about work, or you don't just think about your life in general, that what am I going to eat or drink or sleep and do all these common things which we do, but then what our life is all about actually, that question I think comes up more in Indian culture. And I think it's a really nice inquiry to yourself, that what am I here for, and what is the deeper meaning of life, and how I can have this aspect of my life. So in India, they have this spiritual aspect, or this deeper aspect in their life, and I find that that is really something something really nice.
Yes, indeed. And what about you, Rakesh? What do you think about Hungarian girls? What are the main difference?
Yes, I got a chance to travel in many countries in Europe and see people from close. So if I compare them, then I see that Hungarians are pretty much neutral in the sense that they are neither closed, too closed, they are not too open, that they respect your boundaries. At the same time, they are open to uh, let you in their own boundaries. So when you need, then they will be there to help you. But again, at the same time, they will not keep on knocking on your door every second day. So that is one thing which I like about them. And one more thing is yeah, I don't know many Hungarians other than Gabriella's family from so close, but her family somehow is very similar to our Indian families. Like they are all inclusive. They like to have their meals together whenever possible with grandparents also, and then they like to uh, yeah, take care of other person's likes and dislikes also, like and preferences. For example, we prefer not to eat meat, so her grandmother makes food which is vegetarian for us. So something like that, like the sense of caring and then praising, that also I like from her family actually, that they praise you for any small little achievements that makes you feel proud of yourself. So
Yeah,
that is one more thing that I appreciate.
that's really important, especially for kids. I think it's very important when you praise them, and then it makes them feel motivated, yeah, to become even better. And I think it's for everyone, for adults as well. And okay, about food, Gabrielle, were you vegetarian already before you met each other, or you became vegetarian after you met each other?
Yeah, so before we met each other, I was already thinking and learning more about the benefits of being vegetarian or not eating meat and egg or even dairy products. And then I was getting to know more about the benefits for the planet and also for my health. So I was open to drop the meat already. Actually, I was not very much fond of meat anymore in the previous years already. So before we got in together in a relationship, I already became a vegetarian. First, I stopped eating meat, and then I stopped eating egg as well. So now I am not eating these two things anymore. But it happened, I think, 1 year before we got into a relationship that I became a vegetarian.
No, that's great. I see nowadays a lot of people actually become vegetarian, and there are a lot of choices. Earlier it was very difficult to survive. Now I see plenty of choice in the shop, so it's much easier. And do you mainly cook Indian food at home or Hungarian as well? And what are your favorite Indian dishes? What do you like most?
Yeah, it's very interesting because whenever we are together, then we usually cook mostly Indian food. Because also one reason is because I also like it, and another reason is that there are much more options how we can make vegetarian food. Like Indian food is very versatile in the vegetarian cuisine, and Hungarian is not so much. So few things
The
we
same.
can find.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
my husband go to Russian restaurant and I ask, "Do you have something vegetarian?" We have fish. I say, "Yes, fish is very good for you." Or salad. Okay, that's all. Nothing more.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the
So the
case.
same, yeah, same as in Hungary that people they like to eat meat and many kinds of dishes are with meat only. Of course, over the years we have found out some vegetarian options which are originally vegetarian, but some things we shifted to vegetarian as well. Like we experimented and then we figured out how to make it in the vegetarian version. So those things we do prepare at our home as well, but usually when we go to my parents and grandparents, then they prepare these things for us. in a vegetarian version. But when we are together, we mostly cook Indian dishes because it's simple, easy, and then much more options are
Yes.
there. So yeah, we like it.
But what do you like the most? What is your
I like the most? Yeah, it's a difficult question because as I said, I like many things, but let me just mention, like, I like pav bhaji very much.
Yes.
From India, and I like
But it's
sweets
more
also.
Maharashtra dish, I think. Yes. It's very popular in Maharashtra. More popular.
The pav bhaji.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yes, yes.
Yes, and I also like sweets like kheer. Kheer I very much like, and I also prepare it sometimes, or these small laddus and small balls, sweet balls I like. Yes.
Yeah, I know about dishes with paneer. Do you like?
Yes,
Like,
I also like them. Yes.
yes, because I think it's so tasty. Yeah, especially palak paneer or matar paneer, and really,
Yes.
really
Yes.
amazing. But do you can get different ingredients in Hungary, like to make Indian food? Do you have Indian shops there? So not a
Yes.
problem. And what is your favorite Hungarian dish, Rakesh? What do you like?
I like that
Hungarian cuisine.
there is
I
a
understand that most of the dishes are non-vegetarian, but at least I'm sure there is something.
yes. There is a vegetarian dish which is originally vegetarian. It is called as lecho. It is the Hungarian paprika and tomatoes, and sometimes they add onion also. It's just cooked together, and then it makes a very, very tasty kind of sabji. And I like to eat it with bread sometimes, or with rice also. So that is one of my favorite. And second is stuffed cabbage, which Gabriella's grandmother makes. So she makes it in a vegetarian form, and it's amazing. So I can eat it till I'm super full. These
But
are
they have also like stuffed vegetables. I don't know if it's popular in Hungarian cuisine, like I don't know, stuffed peppers or stuffed.
yes.
I don't know if potatoes. Do you eat a lot of potatoes or not really?
Yes, a lot of
I would
potatoes. Yes.
that we have a lot of similarity in some dishes. Yeah, that's why I try to understand what is more popular. Yeah, I think you eat. Do you eat goulash or something like that?
Yes.
Okay, it's
Yes.
with meat, of course, but I think it's also traditional dish. Or
Yes, it's a traditional dish. It is with meat. It is kind of a soup or a stew.
Yeah.
Stew.
Yes,
But
we also have the same.
yeah, but we also figured out how to make it in the vegetarian version. So now we make it.
Yeah, it's the same like with Russian borscht. It's a soup, but normally it's cooked with meat. But when my mother make it, she knows that my husband won't eat it, so she just put everything like all the ingredients, cabbage or other ingredients or potatoes or something, but without meat. So I think you can always adjust. Yes. So, yeah, it's not a problem. And another question I would like to ask you, Gabrielle, I think it's very important to listen to different experience and opinions, especially when you are in intercultural relations. What would you recommend to the girls who are in a relation with Indian men or who are really dreaming to marry an Indian? There are a lot of girls like this as well. What would you recommend to them? How to behave with Indian men in order to prevent any maybe misunderstandings or mistakes in future? How to understand that man is really serious about you, because it can be again different expectations. So what would you recommend?
Yeah, I think it's very important to be open about, like, if you want to be serious about a relationship with someone, then you express it openly in words, in understandable way to the other person. So I think it's always good to be open about these things, because if it's just like unsaid but somehow expressed in the actions only, then it can create some confusions in both the parties. So I think it's really important to be open, and then also like don't have too many expectations, because the way you want other people to behave with you, you should also behave in the same way. I think it's a very obvious thing. So yeah, I think when we have many expectations that the other person should be like this or like that, then we kind of close our mind and we are not open to new things. So if you want to marry an Indian man and you are open to the other person, then also show the openness to the culture and to understand more, to learn more. And the same way you can also make the other person learn more about your own culture, because it's then it's an open book. It's not something is hidden and then later on you find out that, oh my god, it is like that or like this. So I think it's better that before you get married to someone, you really get to know the other person, and you get to know also things which you might not like so much. And then you can be clear and you can make the decision if you really want to commit to that person and you want to spend your life with that person, or maybe you are not ready for it, or maybe you were thinking something else and you are not ready for a relationship with someone from another culture, from India, for example. And I think Indian men, they like if they are fed some nice Indian food. So maybe you can learn some recipes and then prepare some nice food for them, and then they will feel happy, of course. And also, like as we said, like in Indian culture, you are not so much open in your communication, and maybe the person, the Indian man whom you are interested in, is also not so much open in their communication, or not so much open in starting a relationship just like that. So you don't need to get scared that, oh my god, this person is already talking about marriage and we are on the first date, for example. So you
That's true, exactly. Yeah, sometimes, you know, even like a boy and a girl meet each other online, and then on the second online meeting, the guy say, "Okay, I love you, let's marry." And then for the Western girls, come on, you don't know me. How can you really love me? Yeah, for a lot of girls, it's a shocking thing, and I would say that many Indians, they don't really understand, like, you know, that it's like for them it's love, but it's not really love. It's maybe he likes the girl, but in their mind it's something, yeah, that I really love you, I have to marry you. And a lot of them also playing around. That's why I'm just asking how really to understand that man is serious, because if I look on the internet, I would say that a lot of them are simply just playing around. Yeah, they're just curious to know some Western girl and okay, just to say her something like some beautiful words. They're very famous for that. Yeah, to talk nicely. Yes. So what would you recommend? And is it important, according to you, to meet his family before marriage? Like to know like where his background, like, because it's also very important to see who are the
yes.
parents. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a really important aspect that you mentioned now, Laura, that sometimes you don't really know the person's background. So before you want to commit to that person, then you should definitely, at least online, meet a few times, talk. Even if they don't speak your language, then ask someone who can help to translate, maybe someone from your friends or someone whom you trust, and they would be translating nicely for you. So I think it's really important, because when you see them, even if it's just online, and when you talk to them, then you get an impression that, okay, they are like this or like that. Maybe some judgments come up in you or some ideas come up in you, but then you can see a more clear picture, and you can understand that, okay, where they are coming from, if their family is also open, or he is just saying that, oh, my family is open, and then later on you have to fight for your relationship. So yeah, it's definitely important to meet the person also online, at
Yes.
least a few times or many times.
No,
And
and
also
so if man is serious or not, because you know a lot of Indian men, they're afraid to introduce the girl to the parents, and it's like they try to like to keep this moment like longer and longer, and they will just say, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, my mother is sick now, or no, I'm not ready to introduce you. And I think it should be something already you should really think that something is wrong. Yeah, he's not really serious enough, or because I think if the guy introduces you to the family, it already shows. Yeah, it's a big step, I would say.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely, yes.
Sorry. Would you like to add something else?
No, just like my own experience is also that when Rakesh was saying that it's very important for him to tell to his family about me, then I felt that okay, then he's really serious, and then he wants his family's approval and support. It's not just that he decided something and then he will go against them or something like that. For both of us, it was really important that our families they get to know our choice, our partner, and then we can like show them who they really are. Because as I said, my family was also very shocked, but it was because they didn't know much about him or about India, and they were afraid that I am going to move somewhere else far away. And when they got to know Rakesh and when they got to know more things about India, then they were getting open, more open and open. So yes, definitely. I
So
think
now
it's always
they will let you move somewhere else.
yeah.
That's I can
Yes.
imagine. Yes, it's always
Yeah.
for all parents. And Rakesh, I would like to ask you the same question because, okay, based on my experience, I'm getting a lot of messages from Indian guys, and they're asking me to help them to find a foreigner girl. Yeah, they're really they dream to marry someone from abroad, and many of them they have never been abroad. They never experienced like different cultures, so they don't know anything, and they just think, okay, what is the reason behind that? Okay, all foreigner girls are beautiful, they are kind, they are nice, but I think it's not the right reason to have this wish to marry someone from a totally different culture. So what would you recommend to your countrymates? According to me, intercultural relations are not for everyone. This is my point of view, and I believe that Indian guys who like there are a lot of Indians whom I know some examples like that. They got married to a foreigner girl, and then they try to change their wife and so that she behaves more like Indian. Like she has to get up at 5 o'clock, do puja, she has to do this, she has to do that. But my question is, why did you marry a foreigner? You could actually easily marry an Indian woman. If you want to see an Indian wife, then you shouldn't look even for someone from a totally different culture. So what would you recommend to your country mates?
Yeah, so I totally agree with you that intercultural relationship is not for everyone. And just because some foreigner girl looks beautiful, or there is a concept in India that every foreigner person is rich, especially if it is white person, it's rich. Definitely. I don't know where this concept comes from, but they think. So, and they also have some wishes that, okay, if I get married, then it is easy for me to get the green card or citizenship of that country and
Actually,
things like that.
they're married because of that reason. Yeah,
Yes.
That's why I hear from Indian guys, even nice Indian guys who are really serious. They said that our reputation is spoiled because of examples like this. And
Yes.
they are kind of also not happy about it. Yes, we really seriously want someone, and they understand why they want a foreigner, but because of this reason, yeah, people are nowadays. That's what I heard, that girls are very careful with Indians, especially online. If they meet online, because a lot of them they just want to move away from their country. Yeah, let's say
Yes.
honestly.
Yes. So they should be actually really asking their heart that, okay, can I imagine my life with this girl forever? And yeah, just because somebody looks beautiful doesn't mean that you want to live your life with her. So because then you start facing the reality once you start living together, and then it will not be disturbing their own life, but the other partner's life also, and then the family also. Everything gets disturbed. So my advice would be just like just if you like someone, it's okay. You go and approach to that girl, but see if she is open for it or not. If you feel that there is a good chemistry, you continue. If not, then you don't need to run behind something which is anyway not going to uh, happen. Because frankly speaking, I had never thought that I will get married to a foreigner girl, but still it happened because maybe it was supposed to happen. So if it is supposed to happen, it will happen for sure. But if it is not, you don't need to go and hit your head hard on the wall just to make sure that you get what you like. Then it will be like a contract that, okay, I like you and that's why we get married, and then we just live together just because we got married, and there is no juice in the relationship anymore. So yeah.
Yeah, I just see one question because it's also connected to our topic. How to know if someone is really serious or if it's just for visa or staying abroad? Good question.
I think many people have this concept that if you marry someone from another country, you will immediately get the visa or the permission to live in that country. But actually, it is not that much easy. Rakesh is also living in Hungary for 5.5 years now. And just because he got married to me, he didn't get any extra permission to be here. He still has to go through all the procedures, and there is no benefit actually that he is married to me. So I think if you are a girl from another country and an Indian man wants to get in relationship with you, then you should definitely let them know about the truth, that it is not that much easy. And you can let them know about the procedure and how all these things work. And then you can see that if they stay interested in you or not.
The way, yeah, it's clearly that he wanted visa. Yes. If not,
Yeah.
something. Yeah, but again, it depends on the country. I think maybe it's more difficult to get papers and like everything in some countries. And I think, of course, many Indians would prefer to move to America, let's say, because they can get a lot of benefits, yeah, like green card and so on. But in Europe, it's not the same. And in some countries, I heard it's extremely difficult. Even after marriage, it's very common thing that husband can't join his wife, for example, even for a few years. Like Germany is a very strict country. So Hungary, I don't know, is it also strict if it comes like, okay, you already lived in Hungary, but if you would be moving from India, is it really difficult to join like even your wife, for example?
Yeah, some rules are pretty strict here also in that case.
Yeah, so you should you should scare the guy about all these things and then see how he reacts, yeah. And what I understand. No, but
I would share two experiences. One of a person whom I knew from before. He moved here, I don't know which country, somewhere north of Europe, and he met a European girl. They got married. They even got a child, and they moved to India because she wanted to be in India and live in India. So I think she also had some interest in India. So
Yes.
when they moved to India, then she saw that the reality is very different, and she was expecting him to take her around India, like take to Himalayas and Taj Mahal and these kind of places. And when she saw that that is not what is going to happen, then they got separated. So it was a very difficult time for both of them. And another case, I know one more friend who was in a kind of relationship with an Indian man, but again, because she did not understand how he wants to continue with the relationship, his behavior was very unstable. Sometimes he said, "Yes, I love you very much. We can settle down," and later on he said that okay, I want some time for myself. I want some space for myself. So these things, they do happen. So I would suggest, instead of being in a hurry, that okay, there is strong emotional attachment or things like that, that strong feeling can fade away very quickly also. So that is why it's not that you should go on dating for years together, but at least give yourself time to get that faith or get that trust that okay, I trust this person or this person trusts me. And when you get that at that level, then we can go ahead, but not to be in a hurry. And yeah, if we are going with expectations that if I move to that country, then I will get these things, that could be a big illusion also.
Yes, that's true. And the one question, okay, I want to ask you, do you see your future in Hungary, or would you like to move back to India after some time, or maybe to a third country? It's also possible. But actually, what do you think is the best option for an intercultural family? Like to live in a country of a husband or wife, or really to live like in a third country where both of you are new and you start like everything, sometimes even from scratch? What do you think?
Yeah, it's a, a really good question actually, and we also wonder about it together sometimes. That actually we don't really know where we want to continue. We just know that right now we are here in Hungary, and for now it's good, it's okay. But then maybe sometime we will go to India, spend some time there, maybe come back, or maybe to some other country. But we don't have any fixed plan yet. We just know that in the present it's good like this, and then in the future we will see. But your question, to answer that, I think again it depends very much on the couple, that what is their need, or what both of their needs are, or what both of their wishes are. And because in you live, for example, in one of your countries, for sure one of the family will be far away from you,
Yeah.
and that can be really challenging for your partner and for you as well. So you have to see that how you can manage as a couple, because if one of you is completely unhappy in one of the countries, then you should really consider that what are the options out there for you. And when you live in a third country, then again, as you said, you have to start everything from scratch. You don't know anybody. You need to find some friends. There is no family. So it completely depends on you as a couple, and you should also make it open and talk about it,
Yeah.
and not to keep these feelings or negative emotions inside. That, for example, you have a wish that you want to be closer to your family, but it is not possible at the moment. You should not keep these feelings for yourself, because then it will create bitterness in you and also in your relationship. But rather make it open and see all the options, and really not don't deny any of the options. That just because I want to live in my country, I will never move to your country, because like that it cannot really work out nicely. So you
Yes.
have to see all the options and consider all the possibilities, and then make a decision. And maybe the decision is not always final also. Like you don't make a final decision that from now till end of our life we will be living here, because as an intercultural couple you cannot really decide like that.
Yeah, that's
And I
true.
would like
When
to add something that we know a couple that the wife is from Europe, the husband is Indian.
yes,
So wife is not very comfortable staying in India with his family. He is not very comfortable staying in Germany with her family. But luckily, in earlier days of their relationship, they were in Australia. So because they were far away, they lived the best years of their life. But now they moved to Europe again, to her country. And whenever they are together with the family, then it's a difficult time for him. So that really brought them up to even thinking of separating. So it could be that serious, but just talking a little bit about it, or opening up to each other, can really help. So sometimes staying in third country is also
no,
beneficial.
I would say actually that it's one of the best option to live in a third country, but the biggest challenge here that you don't see your family. Yeah, this is for me
Yes.
biggest challenge, because both of us are far away from our families, and if we want to see, okay, we have to spend at least half of our holidays to visit my family
Yes.
and half of the holidays to visit my husband's family. So it's very challenging. Of course, it's better when your dear ones are just nearby, you can just easily go and visit them. Yeah, I wish it would be like that, but again, even in your case, your family is far away from
Yes.
you, so you can Gabriella's family regularly. For you it's easier, yes. But if you go to India, then it would be the same story. It would be difficult for Gabriella, yeah. So that's why I think it's maybe very important to talk about it, and like, because our parents are also getting older, yeah, and what would be like in future, yes. So if they need help, and for Indians it's kind of normal to support parents in their older age, and I think for all normal kids it is a normal thing, yes, to support their parents, yeah. So I think it's important to talk about that, like even before you get married. What if, for example, my parent needs help, or really everything can happen in life, yeah.
And I think sometimes you even need some other person's perspective or help. For example, you as a couple, you cannot figure out what to do, then you should ask help, for example, another intercultural couple or other people who have the same experience, that what is their opinion, what is their viewpoint, how they can support you to find some middle ways, and maybe with their experience, then you can also learn a lot, that how to manage the relationship, or even such a topic that where to live.
Yes, like you said, your friend, yeah, he can't stand with the family of his wife, yeah, and this is a big problem for him. But I think in this case, they should try to find a compromise, no? Like, okay,
Yes.
we can live in my country, but maybe in some other city, and then you don't have to see them every day. It's also possible. Why not? You don't really need to live just close by or be a neighbor, or I don't know, in the same house. So it's kind of, I think, what is the most important thing, to find compromises, and in intercultural relations even more, I would say, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so you know about it, yeah. So it's actually your topic. You're helping people who are in intercultural relations, and it's a wonderful thing. I really love what you're doing, and I really support you. And yes, and I would really ask my followers, if you really need to talk, if you need to discuss this topic, okay, I can also suggest something from my experience. I can, because I know about Indian culture, I know how Indians are, what makes them different. But of course, if you want to talk about really, like, let's say, deeper questions, to discuss something really personal, yeah, you're welcome to join Danielle and her husband. You can talk, and you can ask for advice, yeah. Their experience, and Gabriella, of course, your profession. Yes, I really, it's I always, because I like helping people, so many people told me that you have to become a psychologist or something like that. Yeah, so I'm not, but I think it's very important to help each other, because sometimes, you know, I know a lot of foreigner girls who marry someone from a totally different culture, and their family don't support them, and they don't have anyone to talk about it, and they don't know what to do. So we are living in a very good times. We have internet, we have people who are ready to help. Yeah. So I would really like to thank you for a wonderful conversation. I learned a lot about both cultures, I would say, because every time I talk to someone, I always learn something new, and it's the beauty of it. I think we always learn something. And I would like to thank everyone who were listening to us, who were with us. I saw a lot of people. I'm sorry if I missed some questions. If you would like to ask something, you can always write directly to Gabriella and Rakesh, or you can just leave a comment under our interview. I will save it. Of course, you can watch it if you couldn't be with us today. And thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it, because we were planning our interview for a long time, and finally it happened.
Thank you so much also, Laura, for inviting us. I think we really enjoyed it, and then yeah, we are available for people to ask us questions, or yeah, anything they need. We are here to support.
Yeah, so let's keep in touch, and I'm sure we can maybe meet again and talk about something else, because I really love, like, maybe connect a few people and just pick some important topic instead of discussing. Like, you can't ask everything in one interview, and then I think it would be interesting to share your experience, to share your views, and it will help a lot of people. I'm sure about that, for an intercultural relations. So we are here to help you guys. And thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
would like to wish you a wonderful day ahead. Yeah, beautiful day, beautiful weather. Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Wish you the same, and let's keep in touch.
Yes, for sure. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.